Well, joining us any minute is Bill Evans, world-renowned 7-time Emmy Award winner, meteorologist from New York City, and he wrote the most incredible book, which is part of our giveaway today.
This is his book, Category 7. It's about the biggest storm in the history. It's fiction, but oh my goodness.
With a lot of truth in
it
it.
could be real. It could definitely be a real story. And he's going to be joining us from New York talking about, they sent us this amazing press kit talking about what we can do and can't do in the different stages of hurricanes. We don't even have enough time. We never have enough time.
I know. It's
to discuss it. So,
I mean, who would even think of some of the things that you're supposed to, you know,
well,
save?
Bill's going to tell us some of those
Hi,
things.
how
Hi,
are
Bill.
you?
How are you doing?
Hey, Carol, Darlene, how are you?
Oh, we're great.
Your book is actually part of our giveaway today, along with our Hurricane Rescue Kit, which is good for any disaster.
It's must read for a hurricane, that's for sure.
You really scared us with this book. What possessed you to write such a dramatic book?
Well, you know, Atlantic City and that area, the Jersey Shore and all the way down there through Cape May and down the Atlantic coast, has been hit by hurricanes many times. If you go back to the year 1400 and look at the great sea captains and record keeping and come all the way to the present, you find that some of the most horrific storms have hit in the Northeast through that time. You take the top 20 of those years, you take top 20 storms from that time, you find that 1/3 of those hit in the Northeast. So I moved here 20 years ago and I found that living in a coastal city like New York City, very prone to hurricanes, but they happen every 70 years. The last storm was in 1938. A major hurricane struck New York City and Long Island, and that was the Long Island Express. So that was a storm that killed 700 people at a time when only 200,000 people lived on Long Island. So today, there are 3 million people on Long Island.
Well, you know, now you're scaring me, Bill, because my son goes to college up in Long Island, and I don't think he has a plan.
Well, you just want him to evacuate to a higher location. You know, I think the key, though, for your son and for everybody else that lives in New Jersey and Long Island and New York City is to be prepared, because these storms do happen. Now, there is a big gap in between when they happen, but we're coming up on that 70th anniversary next year, and weather patterns repeat themselves. So if you have a plan, and you got that plan, make that plan, know what you need to do, put it in a folder, put it away, then when the storm's coming, break it out, you're ready to go.
Give us an idea of what we can do to make a plan.
Well, first thing you need to do is realize where you live and where you are and what that's going to be like in the event of a storm. What's the elevation of your home? Where are you living? Are you in a high-rise? Are you on the beach? What's your elevation? Are you 30 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet? Know what that's like. Know what it's like, how much rain causes flooding in your home. What floods your basement? Is it 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches of rain? Because a hurricane's going to be 10 to 15 inches of rain. Okay, so if you're going to evacuate, you need to have a go bag. So your go bag is going to contain all your records. Deed to your homes, automobile records, your personal records, things like passports. You're going to need credit card statements, records, bank balances, bank statements, all that sort of thing. You need to have those records in a bag. Photocopy them and take your originals. But you need to have that stuff in case you need to, you know, you're going to be away for a time. You need to have some cash on hand. Put that in your to-go bag also, because if the power's out, ATMs are out, you can't get cash, can't go into banks, those things don't operate. So you need to make a plan and have that sort of stuff ready and ready to go.
I really don't think we give any thought to what we would really need in a disaster, so we could have something happen like Hurricane Katrina, can't we?
Absolutely. You know, where we live, the Jersey Shore in connection with New York City and Long Island is a right angle. New Orleans landmass is a right angle also, and hurricanes pile water counterclockwise from right to left into that right angle. Now, our right angle is more severe than New Orleans. And we also have a couple of other things that are different too. The land underneath the ocean bottom, that is stone. And it slopes up to the Jersey Shore, it slopes up to Manhattan and Long Island. So when a hurricane comes in, a Category 1 storm in terms of storm surge is really a Category 2, because the storm surge is more severe, piling up into that right angle. Energy is forced into the bottom of the ocean by a hurricane, so that spreads out, and even more so when the rocky bottom of the ocean comes into play.
I mean, I'm sitting here amazed. I mean, my jaw is dropping. We as a human race, I think we tend to procrastinate.
And you have a couple of other things going. You know, New Yorkers think they're the toughest breed on the earth. You know, they think they gargle nails for breakfast, you know.
Philadelphians too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and they are tough people. There's no question. They've lived through some tremendous storms, mostly blizzards and nor'easters. But the difference is you can shovel 2 feet of snow. You cannot shovel the ocean. So that's what's going to be the difference. Freshwater inland flooding in the Philadelphia area, southern New Jersey, all the way down to Washington, D.C., that kills more people than the storm surge and wind from hurricanes. Freshwater inland flooding of 10, 15 inches of rain. As you've seen, New York City can't handle 2 to 3 inches of rain when it comes down within a couple of hours.
You know, Bill, not only does your book scare me, you scare me. Just the fact that weather repeats itself.
It does, and I'm not talking about just weather systems. We're talking about climatology. You have to look at the whole world. It's not just where you live is where the weather happens. It's the entire climate of the world. Now, for instance, I grew up during Hurricane Camille in 1969 in Mississippi. Well, look what happened there just a couple of years ago. Another hurricane in almost the exact same spot.
Hurricane season runs from when to when?
It's starting to crank up now. It lasts all the way through the end of November.
Does global warming affect hurricanes?
What we find is the factors that determine the number of hurricanes is the thermohaline cycle, which is a ribbon of ocean current that comes up from South America and brings warm, salty water from the equator into the Caribbean, into the mid-Atlantic, and up into the Northeast. That displaces the fresh, cooler waters of the Arctic Circle and pushes that down to the bottom of the ocean. And now we have the La Nina and not an El Nino. We have a La Nina happening, so there's no shear in the atmosphere and hurricanes can develop. The atmosphere needs to be calm from the ocean surface all the way to the upper reaches of the atmosphere for a hurricane to thrive and develop over water. And that's what we're seeing right now. Those factors are the ones that contribute to that.
Well, you know, Bill, your book really scares me, and I could spend the next half hour talking to you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. I can stay here another half hour and talk if you'd like.
I think we would love to have you on the show live.
Absolutely. I would love to.
Well, if you don't think Category 7 can happen to you, it can. Well, thank you so much, Bill.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
VIP